The age-old question I have been asked over the last 18 years is, Bill, when is the best time to sell my house? Or the flip side of that same coin, from a buyer's perspective, is when is the best time to buy a house? And very early in my career, I established an idea of how to answer that, and it's increasingly been proven over time. So although you might ask several realtors this question and they give you different answers, I'm going to stand firm in the fact that the answer you're about to receive is correct. This is the same one that I gave the Wall Street Journal a couple years ago during an interview, and had a ton of people reach out confirming that, yeah, you know what? That makes a ton of sense. So historically, New Jersey's market was a seasonal market. So you had some ebbs and flows. There are times in the spring when it's a busier market, times in the fall when it's a little quieter. But the truth of the matter is that if you're looking to transact, either buy or sell across those two time frames, there's really not a tremendous difference. Yes, there are more buyers usually in a spring market, but there are also more sellers, right? More sellers come into the market in spring. It's all that pent up, inventory coming on from over the winter. And you transact at a higher rate, but you have a higher number of both. In the fall, you have the opposite. It might be a little quieter from the buyer demand side, but there's still action. And of course, you have less inventory. So I call that a wash. Now we look at winter and summer, and there's a couple of different answers here as time has changed. So pre-COVID, we had a cyclical market that was seasonal, where at the end of summer, we got this little lull. And the same thing would happen in winter, most specifically in December going into the holidays. And then COVID came and all that went out the window. And it was a steady, healthy market, basically around the clock when you were looking at the calendar. Fast forward to now, we've really returned to a much more seasonal market. And so my advice to any seller entering the market is my one rule, and it's do not come on the market in December. December is one of the few times where a ready, willing, and able buyer is also deciding not to focus on their real estate purchase because they're distracted with family, with holidays, and with some other things. I think this is really important because there's really no other month that stands out in the way that December does. And historically, I have encouraged sellers to avoid listing in that December month because of what it could mean if the right buyer doesn't show up until January. Either you sold your house before the right buyer shows up, or you didn't sell your house and the right buyer shows up and said, hey, nobody wanted this thing for a month. That brings us to the last part, which is summer. Mainly end of August, beginning of September. Again, the last couple of years post-COVID, this really wasn't a challenge, but we have recently started to see a quiet down again as people are traveling, as people are getting back to school. Many New Jersey schools starting to go back even at the end of August. This distraction creates a lull in the buyer pool. And this year, we have seen that much more than we have in the last few years. So if you're going to buy a house, on the flip side of this might be an opportunity to take advantage of this time where maybe the other buyers are distracted and your competition is a little low in a low inventory market. But if you're going to sell your home, most specifically, let's avoid December. It's not worth the risk. Either come on before then, get that late November push, or just hold off until after New Year's. And if we're going into summer, just understand that there might be a little quieter period, which we again hadn't seen for a while, but feels like it's starting to show up. As always, my name is Bill Boswell with the Omega Real Estate Group, and your search ends here.